don't have video, but
Oh, okay.
oh.
Awesome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
How
good.
did you find Bruce? Last I talked to you, you guys decided not to get a dog.
Yeah, we've just been going through, it's been back and forth, and we just decided, I don't know. It's a good question. But we are really happy with him.
But you haven't been able to find the right one until now.
Yeah, and we are really happy with him.
That's awesome.
So
what does he have a fancy breed name then? The designer dog thing?
I guess he's a Boxweiler.
Boxweiler.
I guess that's one of the names for him.
Okay.
Just and actually, I'm having him just to ensure that, because he seems a little bit small for that,
okay.
for those two breeds. So I'm having him checked.
You're doing a DNA test. Whoops.
Yeah. So and just for my own information as well, it's not like I'm gonna return him or anything like that. I really like him, but just for training purposes and I just want to see what's in him, Yeah. But
cool.
But yeah, he's fantastic.
Awesome. Cool. So what have you guys done so far? I don't want to preach to the choir, but I have my normal curriculum, but it's kind of an interesting situation because you've already kind of started training somewhat. So I want to know where you're at. What would you like to work on? What are some issues that you're working on?
So the main thing I've been doing is the crate training, which I've never done with a dog before. And I was kind of skeptical at first, like whether it'd even be possible or whether the dog would like it. And it's really worked out well. I really like it a lot. So, he's in there all night. And then for every hour that I have him out, playing or training or whatever, he's back in the crate for 2 hours. So
it helps with the routine for sure, getting through puppy stages and potty training and a whole host of things. Now, I will say this, it's totally up to you if you want to continue using the crate after puppyhood, right? So you can totally wean them off of it, or you can continue to use it. My own dogs, all three of them, I have an 8-year-old all the way down to an almost 1-year-old. They continue to use their crates and they love their crates. It's like their go-to quiet place when they get overwhelmed or when they're tired and they don't want to be underfoot, or I need them to be out from under my foot and just be like, hey, I got stuff going on. I'm vacuuming, get out of the way. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the one question I had was, how long do people maintain? I think, I think I don't see any reason not to do the nighttime crate, going forward. How long do people kind of do the 1 hour in or 1 hour out, 2 hours in kind of schedule with their puppies?
Good question. That is primarily for potty training purposes. So you can actually regulate when and where he goes. Okay. So maintaining that 2 hours in, 1 hour out is pretty much until you are solid. He is solid on knowing where to go to the bathroom, when to alert you when he needs to go, and etc. It can also be very beneficial, obviously, for sleep. Sleep deprivation is one of the main causes of bad behavior. And by bad behavior, that can be a whole host of things, from destructive nuisance type things, tearing up the carpet and destroying the house, and excessive barking and whining, and then all the way to biting and snarky, snotty behavior. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that was the reason I wanted to primarily do it is for the sleep, make sure he was getting necessary sleep, because sometimes puppies are just so wild that
they are
and they don't know what to do.
They're just like toddlers. They don't want to take a nap. It's now in my age, I'm like, please, can I have a nap? But when they're that age, my 5-year-old might, she hasn't taken a nap in like 2 or 3 years. So it's like, please just go take a nap, please, or at least let me take a nap. So yes, maintaining some semblance of a nap schedule, a sleep schedule is so crucial to good behavior, to healthy growth, and a happy, healthy puppy in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say as far as putting a time on it, I would say anywhere from 6 to 8 months of age.
Yeah. Okay.
Is when you can start really experimenting with, okay, how much time sleep does he really need?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. That sounds good. Other things I've been working on. So potty training, he's pretty good. There's been a couple accidents he's had in the garage. And those were my fault. I just, I'm trying to manage, him and cleaning up a mess he just made. And while I'm doing that, I turn around and he's gone tinkle in the corner,
Yes.
But
so
for the
there's been a
most part,
couple of accidents.
yeah, but for the most part, I mean,
David, I'm gonna pause you for a second, just 1 minute. I gotta
sure.
give my phone to my daughter. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
I should just let her have the phone so I don't have to keep answering it. Okay, go ahead.
No, but for the most part, he's been, he comes out of the yard and I bring him out every time after I bring him out of the crate, and he goes, almost without fail, so we're getting there. I'm not too concerned about that. Feeding, I know the ideal, I know what the way it's supposed to work with feeding, based on our previous conversation, is I put him in the food in his crate with him. And then close the crate, and then that's part of his 2 hours in there or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the issue, I tried to do it the first time. The issue I have is, as a puppy, I have a larger crate, a much larger crate, for when he gets bigger. But for when he's a puppy, I got a small crate just so. My thinking was that I didn't want him thinking of part of the crate as his bed and then part of the crate as a place to go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
So it's a smaller crate, but the problem. So I bought a pad for it as well,
keep the phone with you
in there.
No, I'm going to pick up Maybe.
Oh, so okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to answer the phone anymore. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay,
That's
go ahead.
fine. I have kids too.
Finish your comment, I guess.
I put a pad in, so I have a pad that's the exact same size as the crate. So when I put the bowl of food in there, it's on top of the pad, and he tipped it over, and I found since then, he just really likes to have his food on the ground. I think that's what he's used to. So even when I have the bowl outside of his crate or wherever it is, he picks up the lip of it and dumps it over.
Flips it over.
Yeah.
And then does he start immediately to eat it then?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, he does. So he just likes it on the ground.
Interesting.
In fact, I've noticed, sometimes he'll carry the bowl with him outside and then dump it outside, and then he likes to eat it in the grass. So
that's cute. I'm
not,
just imagining this little puppy carry this big bowl.
Yes, it is very cute.
It is
very cute. Yeah, it is very. He prefers to be outside. Like he'll have a blanket for him and a little stuffed animal, and first thing out of the crate, he picks up each one of them and carries them outside. He drags his blanket outside. He drags his stuffed rabbit outside, and then he drags his food bowl outside.
Oh my goodness. I need to see video of this.
It is very cute.
It's very adorable. I'm imagining this. So honestly, David, you do what's best for your situation. My counsel to you would be, if he prefers to have it on the ground, actually, so just so you know, I do occasionally feed my dogs outside. I take the bowl of food and I just chuck it, and I let the kibble spread out all over the grass. It's actually a dog training technique that us dog trainers have coined to feed the chickens. Obviously no chickens are involved, but it's literally like you would feed your chickens, spread the cornmeal out on the ground. So you're taking the dog's kibble and you're tossing it out in the grass to encourage them to, I do this a lot with fearful dogs, who need to start using their nose more and stop being so reactive in their behavior. And encouraging them to smell and to sniff and to realize that people or other dogs are not a threat. And that's one technique that we use is to feed them by encouraging them to sniff it out. Another technique is to take their bowl of food and, this may or may not work because he likes to dump it out, but take his bowl of food and hide it and teach him to sniff it out. Almost like a search and rescue type of a thing, right? So my dogs love that one. My dogs are like, they love to sniff out, and they even play hide and seek with my kids. So you can do all sorts of fun activities and games. You can get him a puzzle toy where you put all of his food in the puzzle toy where he has to figure out how to get it out. Or you can just do what you're doing and let him just pour it on the floor. The only thing with the floor is then you have slobbery floor that you have to clean up. Dog slobber all over the place. But yeah, I see no problem with feeding him outside, letting him find it in the grass, letting him find it in the dirt, letting him find it on the floor if he likes that type of a thing. Now you might come into problems later on in the wintertime. I don't know how acclimated he will be to the cold, but maybe occasionally feed him in his crate anyway, and just take his pad out and let the kibble be on that plastic pan that's in the crate.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good then. Okay.
Forget the bowl.
All right.
He doesn't want the bowl.
Great. Okay. And then I think the last item we've been working on, he's in a chewing stage. Fortunately, he's not like a strong chewer. It's more like gnawing a little bit. So, he's not, despite being a mix of a boxer and a Rottweiler, you'd think he'd be really aggressive, but he just doesn't have, I think there's something wrong with his aggression gene. Like he just is very mild and mellow.
That's actually the sign of a very good Rottweiler, just so you know. That Rottweilers are they should be very docile and very, to a certain extent, protective, but they should never attack without serious prompting. Okay. The boxer, yes, is also another guardian type dog, but they're not nearly as stereotypical as your Rottweiler. But no, I'm glad that he's the better side of the Rottweiler.
Yeah, so he'll kind of gnaw on things, and he tries to gnaw on my fingers or on my jacket or whatever. And I've just been doing simple redirects, like I'll have like a stick or a rope in my hand and just redirect him. So I'm not sure if there's anything else there.
I would add one little piece to that ingredient there. That is a great idea. However, the problem with redirect by itself is you can unintentionally reward him for chewing on your jacket. So dogs are very good at picking up patterns in order to figure out the end result, the reward that they want. So if he comes up over to you and he gnaws on your arm or gnaws on your jacket, not obviously hard or anything, but he's gnawing on you, and then you redirect to a toy or a chew or anything else that is desirable, he then says, oh, the fastest way to get that chew or that toy is to go gnaw on Dad's arm, and then Dad gives it to me. Okay. So the one missing element is you do need to tell him what's wrong with that behavior, then reward after.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So, and by telling him what's wrong with it, you can do any number of different techniques. Okay. This is where Google comes in and says there's like a bazillion different ways to train a dog, right? So you'll have to go through a process of elimination, basically. So first off, simply remove whatever he's chewing on out of his grasp.
Yeah.
And then pause for a few seconds. And you can say no at the time. So as he comes to chew on you, say no, remove your arms from the situation, pause and stare him down and say, The instant that he backs off or shows you some sign of like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that, then you can say, good boy, pet him, reward him, that now give him the chew to chew on.
Got it. Okay.
He's coming in and gnawing on you because right now, yeah, he needs to chew on something. Okay. He needs to relieve any attention, and he's not necessarily teething at the moment, but he will in the next few weeks to month. He will start teething and getting his adult teeth. And yeah, just like us, it's uncomfortable. You know, you lose your baby teeth and your big teeth have to cut through those gums. They need to chew on something. And hopefully it's not a human hand or arm. But also, just like little kids, dogs explore their world with their mouths. Okay. So right now he's just exploring, you know, he's like, oh, what if I do this? And what if I do that? Oh, that's undesirable. I don't like that. Okay, maybe I won't do that again. And he tries something else. Okay. Now, if simply removing whatever he is chewing on from the equation doesn't cut it, and he just starts coming more and more and more, and it becomes a game, now you need to stand up and say, clap your hands right in front of his face, say no, and don't back down, and just wait until he backs off, and then you can say good boy. Okay. But I would just kind of gauge on his level of respect. Is he completely respectful of just a simple no, or is he a little more pushy with it? I don't know. It'll depend on your his reaction to what you're going to be doing.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, and that's where I'm kind of at with him.
Good.
You know, we go on really short walks, you know, just because you know that's what you're supposed to do when they're young. Exactly. But you know, a couple times a day, and yeah, everything's going really well. I'm really happy with him. So
good. With your walks, I want to add one little thing to this. When you go for a walk, just be very, very aware that you hopefully are not reinforcing pulling of any kind, even regardless if you're on a harness or a collar or a training device of any kind. So what I mean by that is, if there's any tension in the leash and he is pulling against it, all you need to do is simply stop walking, stop any forward movement or any movement to wherever his tension is. So like if he's pulling you ahead of you, or if he's going off to the side to sniff and smell, simply stop, stand nice and strong and still, put your hand in your pocket if you have to prevent your hand from doing a joystick movement. And as soon as that tension releases, get his attention back on you, say Bruce, and as soon as he looks at you, start walking again. I want you to have a concept of set a timer for your walk, not necessarily a destination or a distance. Okay. Don't think, oh, I have to make it all the way around the block. Okay. Yeah. Doing it this way, focusing on not pulling now while he's a young puppy, as opposed to when he's 80, 90 pounds, is going to be so crucial to build that foundation of him knowing that pulling gets him nowhere. Okay. So in the beginning, you might not even get to the end of your driveway for your walk. Okay. And that is, for me, that is A-okay. I would much rather you spend time teaching him appropriate leash manners than actually going for a circuit around the neighborhood. Okay. Okay. So, especially while he's young, while you don't have to go for a very long walk to get his energy drained, focus more on that training aspect. And I guarantee you, 5 to 10 minutes of just setting that timer at 5 to 10 minutes is going to drain him so much more, teaching him not to pull, than if you were to go for a 5-mile run. Okay, because it's psychological. You're not only exercising the body, but you're also exercising his brain to think and to say, oh, a walk has to be enjoyable for both parties. Sure, he can go sniff. I'm perfectly fine with that. Just don't drag me down the street to go sniff it. Okay. Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed he'll do, and this doesn't happen most of the time, but on occasion, what he'll do is kind of at the edge of our property, he'll just stop as if he doesn't want to go in. I'm not sure if he's afraid but he'll just stop there. But if I pick him up and move him a couple of feet, then he starts walking again. Like he's just over his fear of the boundary line or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. So what I would do in that situation is, instead of picking him up and doing it for him, I would get down with him, if you can, just kind of squat down and be curious. Ignore him, ignore his nervousness, if that's what it is. Ignore that, and just you get down, squat down, take a look at the ground, walk, squat a couple of paces ahead, and pat the ground and be like, what's this? And investigate it. And he'll naturally be like, oh, hey, what is that? Okay, because dogs will pay attention more to what you're doing physically than what you're saying.
Okay.
And if you're typical human standing straight up on your 2 feet and walking, all he sees is like right here above his eyesight. He doesn't see you all the way up there talking to him, encouraging him to come. So you need to squat down, investigate the ground, investigate whatever it is he's nervous of. And by the way, this works on anything that he might be afraid of, whether it's a storm drain or a sprinkler system or a bicycle or a car or another dog or anything in your house, the vacuum. Okay. If it's anything that is causing him to pause and be like, whoa, it's a little strange, all you have to do is get down and be curious with him. And eventually he'll be like, oh, okay, this isn't anything to worry about. And then you start walking. Did that answer that?
Yeah, oops. Oh, sorry, I thought I was on mute.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
go ahead.
that makes perfect sense, and that's a good idea. So I can do that.
Yep. I'm full of great ideas.
No, this is really helpful.
I love these, and just so you know, this is exactly how I train. I don't train. I do Q&A troubleshooting and stuff like that, because I mean, anybody and everybody can go onto YouTube and teach their dog how to sit, how to lay down, how to come even. What you guys need help with is troubleshooting when it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like this. Any other questions or?
No, I think that's it for now. So yeah, that's great. That gives us some things to work on, and
perfect.
I think that's great.
I'm going to give you one other assignment, kind of outside of this discussion, just to kind of stretch you and get you thinking about other things. So on the online training course, lesson 4 from section 1, it should say doorway and threshold etiquette. I want you to start encouraging him to pause when he is at a doorway of any kind. Okay. It can be the front door, back door, maybe a bedroom door that he's not necessarily allowed into unsupervised. Start practicing keeping him out of the kitchen, the kitchen proper. I mean, like where the stove is and where the refrigerator is and that kind of stuff, depending on the layout of your house and your kitchen. So for me, I prefer to keep my dogs out of the kitchen itself. They can be sitting just outside of it on the other side of the island or, peninsula or whatever. But I don't want them underfoot where there's boiling water or a hot stove or an oven or a dishwasher, sharp objects of any kind. Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be a threshold, teaching him not to cross that boundary into the kitchen. Front door, back door, like I said, any baby gates or backyard gates, anything that has a door or a gateway. Teach him to be respectful of that boundary. And by respectful, I mean, if it's open or he goes to that gateway and you go to open it, he needs to be respectful, stand back away from the door, away from the gate, wait for permission to go through it. Okay. So that will be, again, section number 1, lesson 4.
Okay.
So just start adding that into every time you take him out to go to the bathroom, unless you're in a hurry. If you're trying to get him out as soon as possible, perfectly fine. Just practice when you come back in. Okay. So you're outside, you let him out to go potty. He did his business. Awesome. Now practice coming back in, his waiting at the door, so that he understands that being wild and silly is great outside, but not inside. So ask for calm before he comes back in the house.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. Keep me posted. Send Marco Polos if you need to. And I look forward to our next meeting and puppy camp beginning of June.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Take care, David.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.